There we go. We are live, I think. Hello, anybody that's watching this. I'll probably leave it up afterwards, maybe, as well. Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to my channel. And my very first proper live stream. I did a test about a few weeks ago, just to test out how it works. That lasted about 5 minutes, and then I took that down afterwards. That doesn't count. This is the first proper live stream. I don't know how often I'm going to do this. I'm taking advantage of the fact that I can do it without any interruptions because I've got the house to myself for the evening. My wife is off at a conference. My daughter's staying with my in-laws. I have the house to myself, so I thought, hey, let's do a live stream and talk about. I thought I would talk about either Doctor Who, or maybe just TV in general, or maybe movies. And I did a little poll on Twitter, and Doctor Who Series 12 was the winner of that. So I guess that's what we will stick to. Some people have said hello. Now, and I've missed it. They've gone already off the screen. So what I'm going to try and do is watch my own stream on my laptop while I'm streaming from my phone so that I can actually read the messages. Let's see if that works. I have no idea if it will. How do I find the stream? How do I find it? There it is. There it is. And then hopefully I can actually see the comments. So, hello BJ. Hello my love for Doctor Who. And hello Guide to Classic Who. Welcome to the live stream where I'm going to be talking about Series 12. What we know, what some of the rumours are, what we'd like to see, what we think might happen, anything else you've got. So if you've got any suggestions, then yeah. Oh My Dinosaur says, hi Phil, you started very early in there. Like I went in and as soon as it said it started, but I missed the start of you talking. Yeah, I hit stream and then I started talking because I didn't want dead space at the front. So I think I've got everything. I've got my water ready. I figure this will be somewhere between half an hour and an hour. Feel free to stay as long as you want, or depart when you get bored. Oh, I forgot to put my badges on. Just realised I've got my badges in my pocket. My little pin badges. Should wear those. The excellent badges that I picked up at LFCC this July. Who else is hello Doctor Who Adventures. There we go. Hello everyone. So if you've got any thoughts about Doctor Who Series 12, then feel free to type them and we'll just chat about it, I guess. So what do we know so far? I had a little look. Not much, really, because, as always, Chris Chibnall is a very secretive person and he doesn't like much getting out. So we don't know an awful lot so far. We know all of the main cast from last year are back. So that's, of course, all three companions, and Jodie Whittaker as well. So Amanda Gill, Tosin Cole, and Bradley Walsh are all back for next season. So that's good. We've got Chris Chibnall's back. I assume Sega Nakanola is still doing the music, although I don't know if that's been confirmed anywhere. Not sure. BJ says, I think it will be good. Yeah, I certainly hope it will be good. I think last season was pretty good. It was a bit of a, there was some brilliant episodes and some, bit miffy episodes. But yeah. You care more about the directors. That's a good question. I didn't look up who the director's going to be. I looked up some writers. I forgot about the directors. Let me see if I can find that out now. So I know Ed Heim is back as a writer. So that's good because a lot of people liked his episode last season. Do we have any information on it? Any other directors yet? They've started filming, so there must be surely some information on some directors. I should have got that. I got the writers, but I didn't get the directors. I'll try and find that. If anybody knows, put it in the comments. Guide to Classic Who says, I hope the Sea Devils aren't going to appear in this series because I think if they were to appear, they should be held by someone better. Held by somebody better. And this is judging from how he writes the Silurians. Oh, so you didn't like the Silurian episodes of the Matt Smith era then? I didn't mind those. But then I wasn't a massive Silurian fan from before, from the classic series. I think, I haven't seen all of Classic Who. I have seen the Silurians. I don't think I've seen all of their episodes, though, from the classic series. I thought they did a good enough job. I wasn't keen on the design in the sense that I didn't like the fact that they had the masks that removed and then they looked more human in terms of their facial structure. I wasn't keen on that. I would have preferred them to have more of a more similar to. They obviously needed an update, but I think yeah they could have kept him somewhere in between what they had in the classic series and what they ended up with here. I actually quite liked the look of them with the masks on. If that had been their actual faces, I think I would have been more happy with that. But no, the episodes themselves are alright. I thought the two parts of what they were in to start with, forgot the episode title, but it was good. And the dinosaurs on a spaceship, which was kind of a Silurian story, but kind of not, was that was a bit weaker, but I used to think it was terrible, and then I rewatched it last year, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So, and it's kind of only half a Silurian story anyway. So I don't know. I think it will be interesting to see them this season. I'd like to see the Sea Devils back. We've had the Silurians. Let's see the Sea Devils now. Yeah, I'd like to see them. BJ says that he's studying, or he or she, sorry, I don't actually know your gender, but BJ says they're studying how to direct. Cool. Where are you doing that? Are you at uni doing that, or are you doing a course? What do you want to direct? Obviously, I'm guessing the answer there is somewhere in there is Doctor Who at some point. Paul Kelly says, do you think you can see the Sea Devils? Do you think we will see the Sea Devils? Is that? I think there's a chance. There's been lots of rumours about that. We'll get to rumours in a minute. What do we know so far? I was going to look up the thing. So we've got the cast returning. Episode 1. We know that there's going to be a kind of spy type drama. It's got Stephen Fry in it. Love a bit of Stephen Fry. He's always very funny. So I used to think, when I was a child, I used to think Stephen Fry was very boring and I didn't find him funny at all. But I think he grows on you with age, does Stephen Fry. And I like his wit and humour now very much. I miss him from QI immensely. And not that Sandy Toksvig is bad if you watch that show, but I do miss Stephen Fry. So it'd be nice to see him. They're all wearing tuxedos in the set pictures that have been released. So it's kind of got, it looks like, and we know it's going to be something to do with sort of spy drama type thing. So it kind of has a James Bond feel about it, which sounds quite good. Will it address units? That's the question I think a lot of people have. The dissolution of units. I've got a video I'm working on, which I've been working on, doing the research on now for about 6 months about unit. It's kind of a lore-based video about unit that I want to try and get out before this series starts in case they tackle it in this series. So I need to crack on with that. The problem I find when I'm doing more information-based videos, like lore-based videos, I don't do them very often because I get a bit engrossed in the research and end up going and researching more than I probably need to. Like, I'll find out that one book references something about unit history, one novel, and I'll be like, well, I've got to read that whole novel now. And then I have to read the whole novel, and then I end up getting like one tiny nugget of information from that book. And then I'll find another book and want to continue the research, which is why you don't see many videos like that from me, because I'm too busy researching them. I've got about 3 or 4 of those type of videos in the planning stages and the research stages that I have not got around to actually scripting or filming because I'm too busy. I just can't get off the researching part of it. But do you think Unit's going to return? I would like to see them address, at least the dissolution of them addressed somehow. Why they got dissolved would be interesting to find out. Or Big Finish could tackle that in their Unit series. Right, let's do some comments because we're getting quite a lot. Siders HD says, this season has to be good, otherwise it could kill the series. if this season isn't good, and I have no reason to think it wouldn't be, last season was good, very good in some places, not including Arachnids in the UK, which I would say is the only outright bad episode in my opinion last series. And then there were some other weaker ones, but Arachnids was the only really bad one in my opinion. But there were also some stellar ones like Demons of Punjab, Rosa. A lot of people really liked It Takes You Away. I was middling on that, but a lot of people really loved Kablam, and that I wasn't that keen on for most of it. But you know, it had a lot of mix. It was a mixed season. I don't think if it does in terms of the ratings as well as the last season did, I don't think there's any problems. And even if it didn't, even if the ratings dropped off a cliff this season, it would still get at least another season. I think I can't imagine them cancelling it after series 12, even if they had a disastrous series. If they had a disastrous series, they would, you know, some changes would be implemented from up high or something. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to get cancelled after series 12. Where did I get up to? Doctor Who Adventures says, I think this is the list. Not sure though. Oh, and then the list of directors, I guess this is. Jamie Stone, Lee Haven. Is that Lee Haven Jones? Yeah, Lee Haven Jones, Jamie Stone. You're repeating a lot of names. Is that because that's the order of the episodes they're doing, is it? So Jamie Stone's directing the first 2 episodes. Lee Haven Jones directing a couple. Jamie Stone again. Nida Manzoor. Emma Sullivan. Jamie Stone. So Jamie Stone directing a lot then. Cool. Thank you for that, Doctor Who Adventures. Very good. What else do we know for next season? We know that the Jadoon are returning. We've seen pictures from them as well. I think they're the only 2 episodes we've seen actual set pictures, because both those episodes they had to film stuff outside, so we saw, you know, you can't avoid the public seeing stuff when you're filming outside. So we've seen the Jadoon. The Mohican Jadoon looks quite cool. I'm excited to see some Russell T Davies era stuff return as well. So that will be quite interesting and be used in more than just a sort of cameo appearance. Because in the last lot, they've only really had one story that is about them, and the rest of the times they've just been sort of appearing for a bit of an episode as supporting characters or cameo characters. So it's quite nice that they're probably, we don't know for certain, but they're probably going to be getting a whole episode dedicated to them again, which is quite nice. Oh, my dinosaur was also looking up the directors lists. Thank you. BJ's at uni. Cool. What uni are you at? Randall Moore says, do you think Graham's cancer will come back? It sounds horrible. I would like to see it come back. I don't wish cancer on anybody, even fictional characters. But in terms of storytelling, I think it's the most narratively interesting that would have a payoff that's quite good for the character. In terms of his character arc, I think it makes sense. I think it would be good to bring that back. Now, the one problem that I kept on coming up with in my mind against that is that surely the Doctor knows somewhere in the universe that can cure cancer. So there'd have to be a reason why he didn't tell any of his family, the fam, the Doctor or anybody, that the cancer had come back, because surely she would just take him somewhere where they could cure it. And I was I hadn't quite worked out how that would work, but I'm sure the writers could come up with a reason. It could be a very, he really wants to go, feel like he has to go join Grace or something. And now that he's reached the point in his relationship with Ryan that he's happy with, maybe he feels it's time that he can go off and and die, and maybe in his mind that means being reunited with Grace. So maybe he doesn't tell anyone because he doesn't want to be cured, or maybe he refuses treatments. Where it could be either of those things. But I think it would be a lovely character arc for him to go through, and for the others to have to deal with after his death. So maybe that would happen at the end of the season. I love Graham. He's my favourite new companion out of the 3 companions. So I don't want to see him go in one respect, but from a storytelling point of view, I think it could work really well. So yeah, maybe. Guide to Classic Who says, I don't really know how to feel about the new Cyberman design. I kind of like it, but I still feel a bit off about them. I don't know, what do you think? Do you mean a brand new Cyberman design that's for this series? Because maybe I haven't seen them yet. Has there been pictures of a new Cyberman? I haven't seen any, but then I haven't bought the latest issue of Doctor Who magazine yet, so maybe there's something in there. Although I'm sure I would have seen that on Twitter. If you're talking about the more Iron Man style that we've had the last couple of years, I think I have similar criticisms to everyone else. They look a bit too robotic, a bit too much like Iron Man. Oh, there are leaks, photos of Cybermen. I haven't seen them, so maybe I should Google that now. Cybermen. Leaked photos. And have a look. Series 12. Let's see if anything comes up. Nothing's coming immediately to... Yeah, if somebody could post a link, I'll have a look. But I cannot find them at the moment, so I don't know about new designs. In terms of the previous designs, I thought they were a bit too robot-y. I really liked going back to the Mondasian Cybermen, so more of the body horror sort of stuff would be really good. But if anybody can point me in the direction of the images, I'll give you a bit of a better opinion on them. Hi Gallifrey Forever 97, evening to you too. Hope you're having a good day. So Doctor Who Adventures says, I'd love Unit to be a secret, smaller organisation and then build itself back up to the way it was. I think Unit will be back next year. So sort of like Torchwood then. Sort of back down to basics, maybe a dozen or so people and have to build themselves back up. Or if you want another outside of the Who analogy, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in that TV series where they got completely wiped out and then had to build themselves back up. I think there's definitely a potential for them working underground without proper authorization. So that will be interesting. We don't yet know the scope of Unit's disbandment. It was a global organisation. It was a UN-based organisation, not a British organisation. So we don't know if it's, although maybe it's partly funded by Britain, so we don't yet know which parts of it have been shut down, if all of it was shut down or just the British parts. Who knows? But yeah, I'd like to see maybe that a bit of them going. What I thought they could do is if they bring it back in the series with them coming back, that leaves scope for Big Finish to maybe continue their Unit series, which is currently on hold, and do a couple of box sets of them like Unit Underground, where they are that small little team. Maybe they do a crossover with Torchwood or something. And then you can maybe see themselves build back up in Torchwood and have sort of the coming back as a proper force in the TV series, maybe. BJ says, fun fact, Jamie Stone directed a mini episode back in 2013 for the 50th. Which one was that? Was that the one with the on Gallifrey, the trenches, with the commanders manning the trenches? Was it that one? That's the only other one I can remember other than Night of the Doctor. Omar Dinosaur says the start of the Russell T Davies series is now longer ago than the end of the classic run was when series 1 started. I know, and that makes me feel so old. I was an adult when it came. I was at university I just started university when Doctor Who came back in 2005. probably give you a clue how old I am. And so the fact that now that was so long ago just makes me feel old. Hi, Termin Plays. Is that how you pronounce that? Termin Plays. Hi. Sliders HD says, my issue with season 11 was that 1, I thought the writing of the characters and development was poor. 2, Jodie's portrayal of the Doctor was more like a hybrid of 10 and 11 and not her own take. Well, I mean, all of the Doctors are kind of have some elements of another Doctor, apart from obviously the earliest ones. But I mean, even Troughton had like some things from Hartnell in him, like carried over. So I think it's fine for them to feel like blends of different Doctors. I mean, we're up to 13th Doctor now. It's very difficult to get a completely original take with like absolutely no influence of previous Doctors. I mean, even David Tennant has admitted that his Doctor was very much kind of inspired. It was his by Peter Davison's in many ways, and there was a lot of Peter Davison's Doctor in his portrayal, and then he added his own stuff on top. And I think Jodie's done a similar thing. She does feel like a little bit of a blend between 10 and 11, but she's also got her own stuff mixed in there as well. And I think it's fine. She hasn't done anything yet that makes me think, wow, she's up there with my favourite Doctors. But she's not. I don't sit there thinking, oh, she's really bad. I really don't like this portrayal either. She's kind of just sort of middling, I think, at the moment. So it's her first season. I think a lot of Doctors took, and even like David Tennant, who is, a lot of people's favourite Doctor, took a while. I don't think he was anywhere near his best in his first season. It took to that, season 3, season 4 point, and even maybe you could argue the specials, to get to the point where you're like, yes, he's absolutely amazing. At least he was for me. That's how long it took for me to think he was really amazing. So I think, Jodie's only had one season. I think she might need some more intense moments would be good for her. We've seen a little bit of that. There was a little bit in the Witches episode. But for the most part, she was quite light-hearted most of the time. So it would be good to see that sort of slightly more darker moments, just sort of flashes of it. That would be quite good, I think, to improve that. So Homo Dinosaur says, we've only seen a few candid pictures of the Cybermen. They look like samurai with the way their bottoms are. Ooh, samurai. I've got to find these pictures. Wow, how have I not come across these yet? Do you reckon if I add samurai to the search, it would just help me find it? No. No. Oh, are the Cybermen back in Series 12 from 23rd of August? Was that about when the things were leaked? Oh, I see. Oh, yes, okay. So there's a picture with some what look like Cybermen, very true, without helmets on by the looks of it, in capes. The casings look kind of from the back. I'm seeing them from the back walking up a hill. They've got capes on, or kind of like shawls around them as well. That reminds me a little bit of some things. You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of General Grievous from Star Wars, and also slightly made me think of Spare Parts, the Big Finish audio drama origin of the Cybermen. Yeah, well, you can't really see enough to judge, I don't think, there. But I don't know if they just haven't got their helmets on because they're not filming in that picture, or they maybe they haven't got full helmets. Maybe they've got they're in a partially partially transformed state or something. I think it's probably much more likely though they're just not filming at the moment. At that point, the photo was taken. So yeah, quite interesting. Quite interesting. I don't think that particular photo that I've just found is enough to judge anything particularly. Sega Nakanola is returning to Score Series 12, says Joe Bowers. What do you think of the Rooms of the Master returning? I think it's too soon for the Master to return. I would not have the Master return just yet. Maybe next season. I would like Jodie to go up against a version of the Master at some point. But, so maybe next season. See, yeah, Series 12. No, 13. Series 13 would be a good one for her to go up against the Master. Who would I cast? I don't know. I'd quite like... What would I like? I'd quite like... So, what I was thinking about the Master, it'd be interesting to carry on the development we got with Missy. So, the whole her trying to be good towards the end would be interesting to carry on. So, maybe we carry that on with a male Master, and it picks up from where her character development left off, if we are doing a future version of the Master. Although, I don't know, it was such a good end for the Master that part of me doesn't want to spoil that, so maybe we should go back to a past Master, or an in-between Master that we haven't seen before, but from earlier on in their timeline. I don't know. I have no idea who I'd cast, to be honest. I haven't fan-casted it at all in my head, so I don't know. Not sure. Having said, I'd like Jodie to go up against the Master at some point. Actually, I kind of, although that would be lovely to see, I think it needs to be left longer. I think maybe we need to leave it at least 5 years before we see the Master again. Which, you know, history would indicate from all of the modern series that we won't have the same Doctor 5 years from now. Gallifrey Forever 97 says that's a good idea for units in the same vein as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe they're still under operation. That was somebody's idea from earlier on. Sorry, I've forgotten who suggested that idea. Yep. Randall Moore says, do you think that the Mondasian design could be made scarier for a general audience if they had dark stains on the cloth pieces? Not necessarily red, but clearly leftover bodily fluids. Possibly, yeah. I think they were really quite scary in World Enough and Time, as it was. They were pretty... Because when they said they were going to bring back the Mondasian Cyberman design, my initial thought was, that's too corny, that won't work. But it did. It really did. And it was quite scary and very, very creepy. Yeah, they might be able to up the body horror aspect of it, I guess. But it's still, you know, a family show, and it needs to be suitable for children. I think you can maybe get away with upping it a little bit more, but not, you know, you couldn't go kind of completely mutilated faces kind of aspect to it, I don't think. Get rid of the sonic screwdriver like they did in the 1980s, where the Doctor uses his wits. It says Anime Who Review Channel. Yes, that's a possibility. I like the new design though, quite like it. But yeah, it can be used as a bit more of a crutch. And the 13th Doctor has, well, you know, so did the 12th, been using it as a crutch quite a lot. So, I mean, even times when it wasn't really necessary, to cut the string at the wedding, for instance, it was a bit over the top for use for a sonic screwdriver. So... I'm ambivalent on that. I don't mind if they keep it, but they could give it a go, getting rid of it. True. I wouldn't be campaigning to bring it back if they got rid of it. I'd give it a go. Guide to Classic Who says there was a rumour the guy who plays Patrick Troughton in Adventure in Time and Space was supposed to be in Series 12 as the second Doctor. That was Reece can't say his name now. Reece Shearsmith. God, tripping over my sh's there. Reece Shearsmith, wasn't it? Who was also in the episode, the Doctor Who episode, with the sleep in the eye. Sleep No More. That was him, wasn't it? Have I got that wrong? He might be. I hadn't heard that rumor, but I can't imagine Chibnall will want to delve. Chibnall's bringing back some. We already know he's bringing back the Jadoon. Looks like he's bringing back the Cybermen. I don't think he's going to want to go from a series where there was pretty much no links into the past to one where it's crammed too full of them. So I can't imagine the Master will be back as well as the Cybermen and the Jadoon. And I don't think we'll probably get something like another Doctor in an episode as well. I don't see that happening for a few years. We've just had it, well, I say just, 2017. We had it in Twice Upon a Time. That's the kind of thing that you can't do too often, or it loses its speciality, I guess, its uniqueness. So hopefully they won't. I don't want them to do that. So I think they'll probably just stick to the Cybermen and the Jadoon in terms of bringing back returning elements. Maybe, probably, they might squeeze in the Daleks as well, because they always do. But other than that, I don't think we'll see much else returning from previous series, because I don't think he'll want to cram in like the whole series just full every other episode, or every episode full of stuff that just is bringing back something from the past. Even Moffat didn't do that, and he loved the past. He loved bringing elements back. I would honestly, it doesn't like the idea of Shearsmith to play the second Doctor. He didn't quite hit it for me in An Adventure in Time and Space. Oh, okay. I thought he did a pretty good job of it when in the one scene he had. I thought he did a good enough job. Who does it for Big Finish? Who does the voice best? Oh no, you couldn't play him on screen, but he does the voice really well, doesn't he? The guy that played Jamie, but that's no good for on screen, is it? Yeah, no, I thought he did okay, but I don't really want to see the second Doctor in an episode anytime soon. Who's your favourite Doctor? Mine is between 10, 4 and 12, says Siders HD. I don't know, 12 maybe? 12 or 8, I think. 12 in terms of, I think Peter Capaldi is the best actor to have played the role, definitely. In terms of his acting chops and ability, what he could do with the role, I think but he didn't get the best storylines all the time, and he got some great highs and some really bad lows as well, which is unfortunate. But that's not his fault, and that's not the Doctor. That's just the episode scripts. I love 8 because he's kind of my Doctor in the sense that was when I really got into the program. Like, I had watched it as a young child on repeats, and I'd bought some VHSs and stuff, but it was the it was the TV movie in 1996 when I was still a child, still a small child really, hadn't yet started secondary school or anything, but that was when I sort of ramped it up a little bit in terms of my interest in the programme. So he's kind of my Doctor, and then I read a load of the 8th Doctor adventure books, and then my Big Finish collection is mostly 8th Doctor. So yeah, 8th is kind of my Doctor, but I also think 12 is really good as well. We're veering off the topic slightly because we were talking about Series 12, wasn't we? So yeah, we've kind of done what we know so far. I never finished looking up we've got the directors now, and we know Ed Heim is back. How do people feel about Ed Heim coming back? People generally seem to like his episode, so from last season. I thought it was okay, but I wasn't massively pleased with the payoff at the end. I thought they could have done better with... I mean, the frog, The frog is like Marmite, isn't it? Some people love it, some people hate it. I was in the hate crowd of the... Hate's a strong word. I was in the dislike crowd of the frog. Wasn't a fan of the frog. But I did like a lot of the episode. I thought the middle bit was a bit wasted in terms of I'm going to call it the in-between. It's not the in-between, is it? But whatever it was called. That was a little bit wasted. But I don't think that was down. I think that was all down mostly to time constraints. I don't think it was Ed Himes' fault at all. There was apparently a lot more stuff in that middle bit that probably would have fleshed it out to the point where I thought it would have been worth having it there. It's just timing got away from them, I think, and they had too much story to put in the episode. So maybe it should have been a two-parter. Hey, two-parters, that's another thing. Do people want to see two-parters back? I do, because then you can have episodes like It Takes You Away and make it feel like it fill out the space it needs to fill out. That whole first episode of... You could have had one episode of It Takes You Away thinking that there was a monster stalking them, and they only find out about the mirror to the new universe at the end of that episode, and that would be the cliffhanger. And then you get a completely different feel for another episode, which would be good. I see Gallifrey Forever 97 saying that Takes You Away was his favourite episode of the season, for Series 11. So he's happy that Ed's returning for Series 12. He can understand why the ending rubbed people the wrong way. Yes to two-parters. Absolutely. Wow. These comments are going faster than I can keep up with. It's great that so many of you are here. Thanks for joining me anyway. Oh, what's that? My love for Doctor Who has done something where giving me £2. I didn't even know you could do. How did you do that? A little something. Keep making bro content. Thank you, my love for Doctor Who. That's very sweet of you. I don't even know how you did that, but thank you. That's very kind. So while I'm in a thank you mood, yes, thank you all for joining. I'm amazed at how many people are actually watching. I didn't expect this many on my very first stream. I might try and do more of these, but like I said earlier, if you missed the top, my whole family are out of the house tonight, which is why I've been able to do this. My daughter is staying at my in-laws. My wife is off at a conference. It's given me the freedom to do this and not have to worry about disturbing anybody or having anybody disturb me. So that's quite good. Where did I get to in the comments? Where did we get to? So I can't pronounce this username because it's something like FTUMSTIK. Forstumstik. I don't know how to pronounce that. By the way, William Hartnell was exactly the same height as Patrick Troughton, but David Bradley towered over Reece Shearsmith in Adventure in Time and Space. Yeah, that's an inaccuracy, but I don't think it's one that massively matters, especially when it was just one scene. I think the portrayal of the characteristics in terms of the personality are probably more important than physically exactly matching the people. Matt Moore says, "Hey Phil, I'm here. Thank you for joining, Matt. Which writer would you want to return for Series 12? Which ones did I really enjoy from last season? So from Series 11, one of my favourite episodes from the series was Rosa. So I'd be interested in seeing what Mallory Blackman could give us for another episode. That just because somebody's written one amazing episode doesn't necessarily mean that they've got another one in them for this particular thing. But I'd be interested to see what she could bring. I'd like to see from sort of previous seasons. I would like to see Neil Gaiman back again, because although I loved Neil Gaiman's work outside of Doctor Who, I loved his first Doctor Who episode, The Doctor's Wife. I wasn't too keen on the second one, the Cyberman one, but he is a brilliant writer, and to get him back would be amazing as well. Who else? The guy that wrote Dalek. I've forgotten his name. Who wrote Dalek? Begins with S, doesn't it, his surname? Somebody tell me. Sorry, I'm going to have to look it up. Who wrote Dalek? No, not Terry Nation. Rob Sherman. That's it, I knew it began with S. Rob Sherman He would be good to come back as well. Yeah, I can't believe that he's only written that episode for the main series. That is shocking because it was such a good episode. They need to bring him back as well, I think, to write something else. That would be really good. Fun fact, he's a nice guy. Very nice. Oh, yes, of course, Matt. You did an interview with him, didn't you, on your channel? On was that on Universals or was it on your own channel? I can't remember which, but I remember watching that interview. If you haven't seen Matt's interview with Reese, not Reese, with Rob, even, go and on the Universals. Go check that out on the Universals. It was a very interesting interview. Glad to hear he's lovely. I'm going to do some more comments in a minute. So back to talking about Series 12 in general. We've kind of done what we know, which isn't much. What do we want to see happen would be another good question. We've covered Graham. We mentioned earlier, if you're new to the stream, that Graham getting cancer is another option and possibly him dying at the end of the season. I think that would be very good dramatically. One other thing, they need to do more with Yaz. I think we all agree with that because she was massively wasted. I thought there was such potential with her in the first episode of the season. In The Woman That Fell to Earth, they seem to be setting up lots of elements to her character that you thought would be played out throughout the season and then weren't. So it'd be really good to see Yaz getting a lot more character development. And there was stuff that just didn't make sense with Yaz, like the fact that when she went up again, in the Arachnids episode, which I've already said is my least favourite of the season, when, she got a gun pointed in her face and she didn't even mention that she was a police officer, let alone trying to arrest him for putting a gun in a police officer's face. She didn't do any of that. I don't know, maybe she was worried about a diplomatic incident with somebody that was going to be running for president, but it just seemed massively out of character. So Yaz needs a lot more character development. One idea I had might be that she ends up... We see a bit more of her and her police work on Earth, but also she maybe gets a bit disillusioned with going with her job on Earth because she's been out in space, but also a little bit disillusioned with travelling around with the Doctor a bit. And I wonder if there's a storyline potentially where she her departure storyline, or leading up to it, would probably work best leading up to it as an arc. But if in the end she ends up leaving the TARDIS team because she finds this organisation maybe out in space, maybe some kind of intergalactic police force which she feels at home with and feels she can do good with there. And maybe that's how she leaves the TARDIS. Maybe not this season. Maybe we sort of see the seeds of the dissolution with the team this season and then into next season. One thing that might make that more interesting character development wise is if she had a relationship with Ryan. There were slight hints of that, maybe the bit of flirting last season. Maybe that develops into a relationship, and then there comes a point where she decides to leave the TARDIS because she feels a greater calling to this, where she can help more and do good, like the kind of thing she was talking about in The Woman That Fell to Earth, where she wanted to, didn't want to just do pedestrian stuff. She wanted to get out there and really help people. So she has to make a decision whether or not she leaves or stays with Ryan, and she decides to leave. That could be an interesting story, I think. I would like to see some companions carry over to the next season, but maybe not all of them. So if at the end of the season Ryan and Yaz are still on board, and then maybe at some point in the next season Yaz departs and Ryan's still on board, I think that would be quite a good way to gradually reduce the team down and then build it back up again and get a new companion on board that can be on board with the Doctor, Ryan, and brand new companion. I think that would be an interesting idea to go for. But what do you guys think? In terms of the companions, what do you want to see? Do you want to see the team stay as it is? The fam stay as it is? Do you want to see them break up? Do you want to see any of them die, like maybe Graham? What do you want to happen with the companions? Matt pointed out that apparently the guy that played Victor in Years and Years is in this season. That's great. Loved Years and Years, and he was very good in it. So looking forward to seeing him in it. Oh, another person that's going to be in this season, I believe. Was that just a rumour? I can't remember if that was a rumour or confirmed. But the person that played Rani in Sarah Jane Adventures, I think, was meant to be in an episode. So she's playing a completely different character. She's probably playing a completely different character. But it'd be interesting if she was playing Rani, wouldn't it? Matt wants all two-parters. I don't know about that. That got a little bit tiresome when they did it before. I don't know about all two-parters. I'd like to see maybe 2 or 3 two-parters, and then a handful of individual episodes as well. Because I think there's a place for individual episodes. I think the amount of episodes needs to be dictated by the story. Some episodes suit two-parters, and I don't want to miss out on the episodes that suit single stories. There's lots of good stories that can be told in one episode. I don't want to miss out on those, and equally, I don't want them stretched artificially to fill 2 episodes with a load of filler. So, I'd be quite pleased to see a mixture of two-parters and single episodes. In Anime Who review channel says, enjoy Dalek Master Plan audio first time, as played season 3 audios back to back. So you've just listened to those, have you? Excellent, very good. Guide to Classic Who wants the episodes to go back to 25 minutes and 4-parters or 6. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. It's just not the way TV is made these days, unfortunately. You don't get 25 minutes of anything other than sitcoms, really. So I can't see that happening. And I don't think 25 minutes is long enough for an episode, personally. I know I always feel when I'm watching a Classic Who episode that it ends and I'm thinking, well, it just started. It feels too short. I quite like the 15 minutes they've gone to now, actually. A while ago, I'm way behind on the comments, but a while ago Cyber Will joined and said, hey, Phil just joined. Hi, Cyber Will. We were talking about Neil Gaiman earlier, and what do you call it animation says, well, Neil Gaiman's amazing. His novel Stardust is one of my favourite books. Yes, he is. I've just watched, I haven't seen the Stardust movie. I haven't read the Stardust book. I have watched the new Good Omens TV series, which was amazing. Absolutely brilliant. And years ago, I listened to a radio drama version of Good Omens as well, and that was really good. So I do like Neil Gaiman. If you could bring one companion back for like half an episode, who would it be? Will, that was a question on the Q&A I've just recorded. I've done a Q&A. I've recorded it the other day for it was my 1,000 subscriber Q&A. So I've recorded that. I've yet to edit it because I've had some problems with laptops. My laptop completely died. I've borrowed a laptop off somebody and I don't yet know if it actually will work or not in terms of editing. I've just downloaded Premiere Pro onto it today, so we'll see. I'm going to try and do some editing on it tomorrow. Fingers crossed I might have the Q&A out next week. But that is one of the questions on there, so I will not answer it here. The name I cannot pronounce says, for me, Three Companions only really worked well with Ian, Barbara and Vicky. I might say Susan, but I feel that Cara Ford ended up with little to do. Yeah, I agree about Susan, and definitely Ian, Barbara and Vicky is the best I've seen Three Companions done. But I don't mind Three Companions. I think it can work. I just think you have to be clever about it. But it has, like I say, has worked. It worked in the Hartnell era. So they just need to manage them a little bit better, I think. And not just let one slip to the sidelines like Yaz did. Hello, Gargantuan Apple. The writing needs to be improved dramatically, says Jamie Aspinall. I think, in terms of the writing, I was quite happy with most of last season. I do think the weaker episodes probably, if I did a ranking of the episodes somewhere, it's somewhere in my video history. The guest writers definitely wrote stronger episodes. There was some phenomenal writing from the guest writers. So, was it Vinny Patel? Was that who wrote the Demons of Punjab? That was fantastic. Rosa by Mallory Blackman was amazing. And got Kablam got good feedback. And It Takes You Away got really good feedback. Even though they weren't my favourite episodes, they were a lot of people's favourite episodes. So I think the writing, like any season, was mixed. And there were good episodes and there were bad episodes. There were good episodes from Chibnall, like The Woman Who Fell to Earth was good. And there were bad episodes from Chibnall, like... Chibnall wrote Arachnids in the UK, didn't he? I didn't like... I keep mentioning that one, but really didn't like that episode. So it was mixed. So, and most seasons are mixed. I mean, I definitely wouldn't put it anywhere near the weakest season. It wasn't the weakest season of Doctor Who, in my opinion. But I think maybe with the showrunner, it's always best if they don't write too much. Just because I think they get a lot on their plate. And yeah, it must be tempting to try and craft the season yourself. But it probably would be good if maybe he wrote the opening and the closing episodes and left the middle bit to fill in with everybody else. Matt Moore doesn't want 25-minute episodes either, but a similar writing structure. Parts 1 to 2 in the first ep, parts 3 to 4 in the last ep. So basically 2-parters, but with... is that what you're saying? Basically have 2-parters, but use the structure of the old 4-parters and effectively have the structure of 1 and 2 in one episode and the structure of 2 and 3 in another episode. I think that's what you're saying. Cyber Will says, I feel people don't really talk about this much, but I thought it was really good. The title sequence and the new title music. Yeah, absolutely amazing. I love the music from this season. What I've said about the music in the past is that absolutely love it and works absolutely amazing in the episode. I don't want to buy the album though, because to me it doesn't necessarily work away from the visuals. But it works really well with the visuals, especially that title sequence. I love the bass drop. I love all the purple. Purple's one of my favourite colours, so I like that. And it just looks glorious and harkens back to the old 60s intros. Yeah, really like the intro and the music. Matt says, The Witchfinders was good when the alien mud wasn't in it. Yeah, basically, when it's... The alien mud was okay when it was creating zombie-like creatures. It was when it took over Becca and started talking, that was the problem. And then the episode kind of went off a cliff then, I think. Up until that point, it was quite a good episode. And then just the last third went completely downhill as soon as the aliens started talking. Jamie says, as Tosin Cole is going to a Comic-Con next year, to me it suggests that he's left. What do you think? I don't know, because I'm guessing your theory there is that we've never had a person from the show that's currently in the show go to a Comic-Con before. I mean, but there is a first time for everything. Maybe they've changed the policy on that or something. I don't know. But... I suppose it could hint towards that. Possibly. Yeah, maybe he's the one that leaves at the end of the season. Maybe they all do. I really hope it's not all of them. I would like to see, as I said earlier, maybe 1 or 2 of them go, but at least one of them stay on, and there be a crossover between companions, because that's one thing we've never really had. We've had companions come and go, and they've stayed for different lengths of time, but what we haven't had in the modern series is companions crossing over, so that maybe like some companions leave, but one of them stays on and a new one joins the team before the other one leaves. and that you get at least some episodes with them both in. The closest we got to that, I suppose, was Asylum of the Daleks, where you had Clara or a version of Clara in it, but it wasn't, they weren't she wasn't travelling in the TARDIS then. So that's something I'd really like to see, where there's a bit of crossover. So we get a new companion in, but we don't lose all of the old companions. We only maybe lose one or two of them. That would be quite good to see, because it's something we haven't seen before in the modern series. At least we saw it a lot in the classic. Do you think there will be an anniversary special when we get to the 60th? Guide to Classic Who says, hope so. I think we need one. I think, there hasn't been a decade anniversary while the show's been on air that there hasn't been a special. We had the 3 Doctors for the 10th. We had the 5 Doctors for the... That was for the 20th, wasn't it? Or was it the 25th? Oh, can't remember now. I think it was the 20th. Yeah, it must be the 20th. 30th if it was off air, 40th if it was off air, it was the 20th. 30th if it was off air, 40th if it was off air. But we still got things released in those years, be they charity specials or big finishy animation-y type things. So I can't see why they wouldn't do something. They're going to do something. I don't know what it is. Hopefully, I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be as big as Day as the Doctor, because the 50th is that's a big, big landmark. Every decade is a landmark, but 50 is really big. The next thing that's going to rival a 50th is, a 100th. So we'll all be old by then. But hopefully the show will still be on the air. Showrunners should write 4 episodes at most, 1 or 2 for the opener, 1 or 2 for the finale, a couple in the middle, but that's a maximum, says Matt Moore. Yeah, I agree. I think opening, closing, maybe 1 in the middle if you really want to, if you've got a story arc, especially if you've got a story arc. I mean, maybe not if you've not got a story arc, but if you've got a story arc that you want to hit a certain point on and you've got in your head what that sort of middle peak of that story arc is, then yeah. That's another thing. Next season, story arcs. What time is it? Oh, I said I was only going to go for an hour. We're an hour already. Doesn't time fly? We'll do 5 more minutes. Yeah, story arcs. We need a story arc. I think that was severely lacking last season. I think, fair enough, they tried it without a story arc. I don't think it worked particularly well without a story arc. I'd like to see them develop some more stuff like that maybe they started to hint at in this previous season. So the Timeless Child and stuff like that, that would be really good. Let's try and rush through these comments before I go. Really hope they bring back the Sea Devils back at some point in the future, says Jamie. Yeah, we were talking about Sea Devils earlier on the stream. Yeah, I'd like to see them back. Somebody wasn't keen on Chibnall writing them earlier on because they didn't think that that Chibnall handled the Silurians very well. If there isn't a 60th, there'll be fan outcry, says Dan Johnson. Yes, I'm sure there will, and there will be something. It's just at what scale it's on. I don't think it will probably be as big as the 50th. Again, partly because 60th isn't as big a deal as a 50th, and also I don't think Chibnall is. Although it might not be Chibnall by then. Realistically, that's still 4 years away. If it is still Chibnall, he doesn't strike me as quite as into the big, massive cinema level things as Stephen Moffat was. So possibly it'll be more of a sort of smaller scale thing. Maybe something along the lines of like The Two Doctors or Twice Upon a Time or something like that. Are you more excited for the return of the Cybermen or the Jadoon? Actually, the Jadoon. We've seen the Cybermen a lot recently, and they did it really well last time, the Cybermen. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to seeing the Jadoon. I'm liking the fact that they're bringing back some Russell T Davies era stuff as well. That is quite good. What else could they bring back from Russell T Davies era, do you think? I've gone blank now, but I did do a whole video on this with Gallifrey Forever 97. So, can't remember if that one was on my channel or his. Well, one of our channels we did things we'd like to see back from Series 11, villains we'd like to see back from Series 11. Another one we did just over the whole history of who we'd like to see back. So, go to both of our channels and check those out. They're in there somewhere. I can't remember which one was on which channel now. Doctor Who Avengers misses the stories arcs. Me too. Me too. Guide to Classic Who, like the 5th and 6th Doctor intros. Yeah? You saying you like the 5th and 6th Doctor intros? Yeah, I like the 5th and 6th Doctor intros as well. We need stronger stories, arcs or no arcs. I think we got some strong stories last season. We got some brilliant stories last season. Rosa was amazing. Dean's Punjab was amazing. We also got some weak ones. Of course we did. We always do. But, and I'll say it again, Arachnids was terrible. But, terrible. It was, I didn't enjoy it that much. But most seasons have that. Oh my dinosaur, I'd like to see something multi-doctor at least. Not next season. I love a multi-doctor story. I really do. But I think it's been too soon since the last one. It's only been 2 years since the last one. I don't think we need another one just yet. I think we need that. Oh, for the 60th. Oh, okay, yeah. For the 60th multi-doctor. Sorry, I thought you were talking... I confused myself. And we've gotten off track. I thought we were still talking about Series 12. Yes, for the 60th, definitely something multi-doctor. I want to see... I would, because 8th Doctor, my Doctor. I want to see the 8th Doctor meet someone else. Although, who thinks we might now have a chance of getting Chris Eccleston back? He's getting more and more into the Doctor engaging with Doctor Who again, going to conventions. He's just today been announced for Gallifrey 1. So, he seems to be enjoying that. Maybe by the time the 60th rolls around, he'd be up for being in something. Who knows? Anime Who review channel says no more story arcs. You don't want story arcs. Interesting. The prevailing view I've sort of seen is that people want story arcs. You don't. I'd be interested to see why. So do tell us why in the next couple of minutes, because I'm going to go soon. But my voice is starting to go as well, so I really do need to log off soon. But yeah, if you've got time, quickly write down why you don't want to see story arcs, because I do want to see story arcs. Gallifrey Forever has confirmed that the one... mine was Series 11... No, sorry, his was Series 12, mine was Series 11. Yes. So, yeah. They were both about Series 12, but mine was... Yes, the one on my channel was which villains from Series 11 should return in Series 12. And the one on Reese's channel was what villains from the whole of Doctor Who history should return for Series 12. More 9th Doctor, sign me up, says Dan Johnson. Absolutely, we need to see a bit of 9 again. The last arc I truly enjoyed was the arc in space. says the name I can't pronounce. Okay, fair enough. You don't like story arcs. And what do you call it, animation also doesn't want story arcs. Okay, more people than I thought don't want story arcs. I didn't think there would be so many people not wanting story arcs. So you just want individual contained stories. Interesting. What don't you like about story arcs? Because I've always really enjoyed them. And I think even people that like story arcs have various views on what type of story arcs they like. I like quite in-depth story arcs. And I'm one of those people that like Series 6 for the most part, and I like the story arc for Series 6. So I'm guessing you really didn't like... If you don't like story arcs, you probably really didn't like Series 6. But it's one of my favourite series. It's not my... I don't think it is my favourite series, but it's up there in like the top 3 or 4. More 8th Doctor on TV, says Anime Who Review. Couldn't agree more, Anime Who Review. Matt Moore says, I'm tired of story arcs after having 10 back-to-back. Not against them, but I don't want them for a while. Wow, okay, I'm actually generally surprised that the view is so much against story arcs. I thought people's general feeling was that the Series 11 suffered because it didn't have one, but hey, not on this stream. People seem to be not fans of the story arcs. Guide to Classic Who, when we get a new Doctor, I want them to change the intro and return to a Starfield background. Yeah, I'm sure they will change the intro because they tend to do that with every Doctor. So we probably will get a new intro. Yeah, if they can do something with a Starfield background that's interesting, could be good. I do like this sort of psychedelic mix and harkening back to the 60s with the current one, though. Dan Johnson says Series 6 is a mixed bag. It is a mixed bag. I do really like it. There are some really... Let's Kill Hitler, let's be honest, isn't that great. So there are some weak points to it. But the key beats of the story arc I really like. I love A Good Man Goes to War. And this is much... I think a lot of people like A Good Man Goes to War. I even like The Wedding of River Song, which I know is a bit more Marmite. And the whole River plot arc, again, is a bit Marmite. Some people love it, some people hate it. I love it. Nothing huge like Series 6, says Cyber Will. See, Series 6 is the only time they've attempted something that huge. So maybe, and that was 2011. That was almost, by the time Series 13 happens, that will have been a decade ago. I think it's time to try something that huge again, I think. Dallum Reviews Who says, I really enjoyed most story arcs, but I thought Series 11 worked well without one. Fair enough. What do you call it? Animation likes the overarching mystery of most of the series arcs. Oh, one of my lights has just gone. That's definitely telling me to go. Just a bit tired of it. Fine with character arcs. Yeah, character arcs are good too. We did, I suppose in one way we got a story arc in the sense of Graham and Ryan's relationship and the whole dealing with Grace's death last year. So definitely I'd like to see that as well. Doctor Who Avengers said story arcs are quite popular, actually, because even kids' cartoons are doing them now. So I see Doctor Who keeping them / going back to them. Yeah, I've noticed that with kids' programming as well. And I think it's... when I was a kid, kids' cartoons, every episode was completely self-contained to the point where there was no character development or anything at all. There's just nothing ever changed. You could watch them in any order. It didn't really matter. I've noticed... even my stuff my daughter watches, and she's only just under 5, even that's got evolving character arcs throughout the seasons of it, which I think is really good. I think it shows a bit of trust in your audience that they are going to be able to follow that and not be confused. And if they think kids can do it, I'm sure we can. I'm going to be up all night just answering comments, says Dan Johnson. But I think, got to the end of the comments. So, at that, I don't think there's much else to say about Series 12. We don't know when it's on. I think it's going to be on, I'm really hoping we get a Christmas, but they would have announced it by now, wouldn't they, if we were getting a Christmas Day special. I miss my Christmas Day special. It's part of tradition. Sit down with the whole family, watch Doctor Who. I feel like there's a hole missing in my life on Christmas Day now. It's not there. But I don't think we're going to get one this year. We might see the season kick off on New Year's Day. I think that's probably what might happen. So it won't be a special. It will just be the start of the series on New Year's Day. It's a shame. I hope they do reinstate the specials the following year or at some point because I miss them. But yeah, what are modern Christmas days without Who? Too right, Gallifrey Forever 97. That's I stopped short of actually just putting on an old episode and making my family watch an old episode last year, but yeah. Matt says he doesn't really miss Christmas specials because my family think I hate the show because they see me watch the specials and rage. I watched City of Death instead last year. Willie, you watched something, so that's fine. You're not a fan of the Christmas specials then? Is that why you rage at them? Oh My Dinosaur also didn't like the Christmas specials for the most, but I missed it last year. Yeah, I mean the Christmas specials were a mixed bag. My favourite was Christmas Carol. My least favourite was the very next one, Doctor the Widow and the Wardrobe. So they're mixed, but it's just tradition. Need it. Along with board games, you have to play a board game at Christmas. Love Doctor Who cartoons. Do you mean ones that already exist or found ones online? There was the David Tennant ones, Dreamland, and I can't remember what the other one was called that they did way back when. Matt loves playing board games at Christmas too. Good. Sometimes it's a struggle to make people play them though, and I don't want to, force them because then it's not fun. But also, I don't like it when I miss out on a Christmas Day board game. I'll stop short of getting out my Doctor Who board game at Christmas because that is actually quite complicated and I don't want to have to explain the rules to people. The Infinite Quest, that was the other one. Thank you, Doctor Who Adventures. Right. I'm going to have to go soon because my voice is going. I've been speaking far too long. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm gonna stop here. In terms of just channel update stuff, I will be trying to edit my Q&A video on the laptop I have borrowed off someone. Hopefully that works okay and I can get it up sometime next week. Fingers crossed. Got lots of lore videos I'm trying to research at the moment, but as I said earlier, I kind of get a bit carried up in the research stage and never get around to scripting them, let alone filming them. So I'll try and get that Unit 1 done by the end of the year so that if they do cover Unit in the new series, it's not already out of date. Fingers crossed anyway. So that's that. And what else am I going to do? I'm in a show. I'm in a musical. That's completely unrelated to this channel, but just thought I'd mention it. I've just auditioned for a local amateur production called it's a musical Made in Dagenham. I don't have to sing at all because I got a non-singing part. So clearly I did not do very well in the singing audition, but I got some acting. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to try and do NaNoWriMo, which if you don't know is National Novel Writing Month in November. I'm going to try and write a novel in a month. So my uploads may dip a bit after getting them back after having a month off because my laptop broke. I may be having another month of not very many uploads in November because I'm going to try and write as much as possible and rehearse for a show at the same time and do stuff with my family. So might be slow in November. But thank you very much for watching and hopefully I'll do another one of these soon. Thanks. I'm going to click the off button now. Bye. I can't find the off button. Where's the off button? That's the problem with doing it on your mobile. Yes, I'm going to end the stream. Goodbye.